Hello everybody, my name is AJ and welcome to the second episode of Media Training. And today I'm going to be going over mainly Facebook and Instagram and how you post on Facebook and Instagram, and also how you design posts and how you make the captions for posts. So let's just jump right in. So first slide, just my opening slide. I just want to preface by saying both Instagram and Facebook are very, very helpful for growing your team in terms of reaching out to given audiences. For specifically Facebook is really helpful for, I don't want to say this, but really just the older generation. A lot of the people, including your sponsors and more professional, established business and established people, also parents will be able to access information on Facebook. And then also, of course, on Instagram, you would be able to make those connections with the students from other teams. They're both great platforms to kind of connect between those two different teams, so you can network with your team to another team or students to other students. They're great, but really utilizing those two platforms to your own advantage is what I want to teach you guys in making quality content to post on either one of those or both of those platforms. All right, let's just jump right in. So first slide, if you can see on the left side, you see sort of a diagram of an example post. I just whipped this up real quick. It's not an actual open house we'll be hosting, but it shows kind of what a normal post, or at least the expectations for my team, would look like. In this case is, you can see there are definitely complementary colors. So I mean this by, in our case, we selected two colors, yellow and blue, that worked really, really well together. And that could be specific shades or just specific colors. Now, a really good resource for you to look at when picking your colors might be a color wheel, when you can actually utilize those resources to see what colors work well together. But also, a big thing that you want to steer clear of is oversaturated colors. Like the ones you see on the screen right now, it's just too bright, if you see. Like, it's just too harsh on the eyes to see. And blending that with another color, as you can see right here, it just kind of, like, in my opinion, looks atrocious. It just looks, I mean, it's just hard to look at, to be honest. Now, let's take those same two colors and let's take the saturation down and maybe play with the shades a little bit. Now you can see those two colors work really, really well together. And that's sort of a basic introduction to complementary colors. I could have another whole class on just complementary colors and how they relate to each other, but I am not smart enough with that. I am not an art teacher. But I just do want to say, specifically, for posts to look good, you want to use an off-white color, like an egg white or something, makes it look good. Same thing with blacks, you don't want them to be too sharp with blacks. And then for saturated colors, don't make them too saturated. All right, and then of course, you want your content to be straightforward. You want this post to really get the point that you're trying to convey across in a timely manner. Because when you're scrolling through Instagram, people are gonna be scrolling really quickly, and you really have to grab their attention in a few seconds. And then also, you wanna have all the necessary information that you need in your post, And this can include times, dates, locations, anything like that. And along with getting your main point across, and along with grabbing the audience with maybe like a hook sentence or something like that, it can really make for a powerful post that actually means something for the future of your team. Now, I usually like to add a photo or something that is an interesting fact or something like that to really grab viewers' attention. In this case, it's a nice reveal photo that we took to, they're just a beauty pics of our 2023 robot. And of course you can do any photo. I do want to say it should relate to what your actual post is in some way. In this way, it's a little bit less meaningful because it's an open house post. And of course, an open house isn't exactly our robot, but it shows the robot in the shop and it shows the robot itself, which is a feature of what the open house might be, stuff like that. Another great example of something that you can use for this is just a photo from a prior open house or something like that. And it really helps grab the attention of the viewer, which is what you really want to work on for an Instagram post. All right, and then there's the hook. And that is the one thing that you want the viewers to look at first. And the hook should be the biggest part. In this case, it's, you know, the big letters saying open house. And in our case, it's very helpful because it basically says everything you need to know. It doesn't give all the information of locations and dates, but it says, okay, there's an open house, right? And a good way to reference this is to look at like newspapers, because newspapers, especially on the front page of them, they have in big bold letters, big all caps letters specifically, they have like, I don't know, like the murderer was found in the building, something like that. Like it's so short, it doesn't say an essay or something like that, but it quickly gets the point across. So that is one of the big things you want to have in posts. And then also, you gotta make sure that all the other information is easily readable and short and concise and doesn't take away from the hook. In this case, you can see interested in first robotics, welcoming rising 8th to 12th grade students. So like in this case, it's like, it's smaller, but it's also relatively large. It's bolded, but it's not as big as the hook. So in this case, it would be the second thing you'd want people to look at. It would be like the second smallest and the second most out there, right? And then the third thing would be all the information, right? After the viewer's seen the photo, read the hook, and then now is reading the supporting information, maybe they're interested. And in this case, we would want to have the necessary information for like locations and dates small. Big enough to read, but small so it doesn't interrupt the hook and doesn't hurt grabbing the viewer's attention. All right, perfect. Let's go on to the next slide with this. So you can see two completely different posts that say basically the same thing. On one side, there's the post that you already saw, which is very clean, complementary colors, everything looks very good. And then on the other side, it kind of just looks atrocious. So what I want you guys to do, if you really want to get the best out of this video, pause it and just look at the comparison between them. And try in your head to really note why one looks so much better than the other and what are all the reasons why they look different. Okay. All right, pause. So some really clear differences you can tell is the colors. In our case, they're not team colors and they're way too vibrant. They just don't fit in, right? And they don't really work together. Like look at the blue of the open house to the pink. Like, I feel like there could be a bit of a different tonal selection. Like, the blue seems to be a little bit too dark, or the light pink is not light enough, something like that. It just doesn't really match up. And playing around with those colors would help. Or just changing the colors completely, because in our case, it doesn't even help our team because we are not a pink and blue team, we are a blue and yellow team. And then you can see there is text over images. There are images that don't even make any sense. Like, what is that random photo of a robot? And what is that random photo of some of our teammates looking at a robot when the robot is barely framed in the frame? You can barely see any of the kids' faces and it's compressed. It's really, really low quality. Like a photo like that would not be a good example of a hook. Also, the supporting information to talk about, you know, welcoming 8th to 12th graders, something like that, it's just a completely random text that's hard to read because it's over other text and over other images. And I can barely read the last few letters in that sentence. So make sure it's separated from other photos and not overlapping anything because it looks pretty bad, to be honest. And then also you want to have a level of consistency in your posts. And this could mean in your team's media team, or in your media team of your team, you would want to have some sort of a, I don't know, a defined font that you want to use, or colors, or both. And in this case, it didn't even follow that at all because there are 3 different fonts, there are 4 or 5 different colors, and everything's all messed up and disorganized. So what I really want to say is focus on complementary colors, organizing the way you post in terms of what colors you should have for your post, what fonts you should have for your post, and really focusing on what viewers will grab onto first and what they will see first, and utilizing that for your own benefit. In this case, I want to encourage you guys to make your own posts because I believe the best way for you guys to learn is by actually doing. So, on the left, you can see some examples of other posts that we've made. And honestly, they kind of go against some of the views I've already said, unfortunately. There is a little bit of inconsistency in fonts, which for at least the top left Mental Health Monday post, it probably makes sense because with the cursive you would want something lighter, or with the 1K giant post that could emphasize 1K. That was for 1K subscribers on our YouTube account. And you can make those decisions, but really be careful to figure out what's good and what's bad, and really try your best to be consistent with what you post. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is create a Canva account. Now, of course, there are many different things you can use, but we as a team personally use Canva because we believe it's a very good tool for teams to use. Right, so decide what you want to say in your posts. That's probably one of the biggest parts of Instagram posts is your message, right? So really figure out what information you want to include, what information you have to include, and how you can really get that bold statement going. So either use a Canva template or use your own template, or create your own thing and try to use your own team colors or some colors that look good together to really form that template. And then also, what I want you guys to do is when you're in Canva and when you're about to create a template, you can actually, there's a search bar feature, and you can search up what aspect ratio you want your template to be. And what that basically means is what is the size of the post you want. I mean this as you could have an aspect ratio of 1:1, which is like a square, like this. You do something that's more like 4x5, which is about like this, right? And that variety of sizes could be important to the type of post you want to make. Really try to make sure you figure out what aspect ratio you want to post in, and make sure it's the exact aspect ratio of your Instagram post. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, select a color scheme for your post. Now, of course, that could be your team colors. I urge you to do your team colors, but it can also be something else. For something that's like more mental healthy, if you wanted to do like a outreach event for a specific type of cause, you could do something that follows those colors. Like if it's like some post for Earth Day, for example, you could do some greens or something that looks more earthy, but for any other post, you would probably want to do your team colors. And then of course, look for a relevant photo from your team of that subject. It could honestly be anything from first, but it's really best for you to show a photo from your team because it really just shows your team, and it could also show more of what people could expect coming from you in the future, depending on what the post is. Now make sure those colors, of course, are complementary and easy to see. And then add any information that you need. That could be logos, or especially locations, times, any specifics that you need to have in your post, you gotta make sure that you have them. Okay, I'm going to let you guys do that. Now please, please, if you want to get the best out of this, do it, because it is very, very helpful to do it with experience. So I'll let you guys do that, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Okay, cool. Now we've got the bold slide sharing your posts, and that is almost another half. In fact, I would say it's maybe even more than another half of the effort of actually posting and making media for your team. And there is a certain amount of strategy in what's good and what's bad with sharing your post. So here are 3 examples from some posts that we've made in the past. So what you can see is, you see the post, of course, and then you can see the caption underneath. And the caption is very, very important. So quickly take note of what you see from these. Just read through them and see what kind of content is included in them. Let's talk about this. The first thing you want to do before you even start to make the write-up for what you want to include in the caption of your post is to share with the rest of your team and really make sure that this is the exact message that you want to convey. Of course, it varies between the position you're in the team. If you're like a high up and you believe that you can just post, of course you can just post it, but also for a lot of students, it's a really good idea to talk to your mentors before you post a post like that, because a post is a really good example of who your team is. And if you made a mistake like that, you could convey the wrong point. So of course, talk to your mentors. Now, when you were to actually present it with your mentors, it's a really good idea to include the caption that you want to write up for your post, just so they can see exactly both the post itself and what you want to say about the post. All right, let's talk about that caption. So you should create a caption for your post that is really short and really sweet, because people aren't going to read an essay. They might not even read a paragraph about what you're saying. They would likely read the first few sentences, 1 or 2 sentences about what the post is. Now this can include some more information, it can include some tagging people, hashtags, anything like that. Make sure it is short and sweet. Some big good points that you should keep in mind when you're writing these captions is, of course, write it about the post that you have and try to write it to represent that post as best as possible, but also stay humble about your team, because you don't want to be writing propaganda here. You don't want to be forcing other teams to think that you're the best team in the world, because although you might be, it kind of diminishes them and they don't really want to see stuff like that. So make sure that you're humble, supportive of other teams, and make sure you're putting your best message out into the world, because this is going to represent your team in some way or another. Of course, a simple post might not represent your whole team, but it definitely represents a little part of it, because the person who sees it is also the person who's gonna think, wow, this team is really nice because they had this really strong message about what they're saying, and they were so humble with what they were saying, and they supported other teams, you know, stuff like that. I mean, I know I'm just making stuff up, but something like that is very helpful for you to have. Conversely, celebrate your own team. If you guys won an event or you made it to the elimination round, something amazing like that, make sure you celebrate that, because not only other teams are going to see your post, but also sponsors and especially your own teammates, because building that morality and showing off your abilities is very helpful. Of course, stay humble, but also make sure you don't diminish the fact that you might have achieved something amazing. You might be posting about that. And then of course, give credits to other teams. If you are in an alliance in elimination rounds or something like that, and you're making a post about that, tag your alliance of other Instagram accounts, because a majority of teams also have Instagram accounts and are also fairly active with them. And if you tag other teams, then they might have that little bit of promotion. They will have that recognition, and they will just be equally as happy to tag you. So it is a really good, easy thing for you to do that also helps builds the community at first, but also helps build your team in the long term. Before you actually press post, think critically about your post and make sure that it respects the core values of FRC, which is very important. Make sure it's necessary to post. If it's something that's really not necessarily a strong message or something that you just don't really need to put out in the world, just wait until another post comes along that has that message, because you don't need to be constantly posting content that isn't as high quality as the stuff you would post intermittently. Make sure you also understand what your team will get out of this post, because you got to make sure it actually helps your team, because of course media team directly benefits your team, and that's how it should be. Does it visually look good? That's a big one that of course I'm going to stress, because you want to make sure that the quality of your posts reaches the quality that you want to set for other people to think of your team. So if you were making some crappy quality posts, the only real view of your team, if people only saw you on Instagram, would be that you guys aren't as organized or don't really care that much about quality when you might. So really make sure that your posts are as high quality as the team you want to be, or the team you are. And of course, does it have all the content that you need in it? And that is really important. If you're missing a date in an open house post, then there's just no reason in posting it. So just make sure that you have all the information you need, because that is really important to have. And of course, my last bullet is very important. Include hashtags, because hashtags, especially in Instagram, is a really good way to get just a little bit more views. So if you said like hashtag FRC or hashtag crescendo for the 2023 or 2024 season, something like that, it helps send your content out to the people who like that sort of content. So if you have as many hashtags as relevant to your post in your post caption, underneath the main caption they want people to read, then you are directly helping yourself get more views and get a farther reach into your media footprint on the internet. Now, I want you guys to create your captions. So with the post that I hope you guys made on Canva, work through a caption that eloquently describes everything about that post in a short and sweet way that really describes the way you want to describe your team. Even if it's just something made up, try to link some other teams in there. All you have to do is hit the @ symbol and then start typing the team that you want to tag, and then it should come up. And then also put some hashtags in there, because although this might be a fictional post that you don't ever really post, it's good practice to really figure out exactly what kind of hashtags you want to use to apply to that specific audience. And then of course on the right, there are some more examples from our team of some of our good received posts and the captions that they had. All right, that is all I have for you guys. Next lesson is types of content to post in FRC, so make sure you check that out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was very helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. See you guys.